Yeah, cool, man. We just wanted to have this
Yeah.
this chat with you and tell you like we're super proud of you. We're cheering for you. We're happy for you.
Thank you.
Let's yeah, let's take it from there. Let's start from the beginning. You wanna tell me a little bit about like what was your early life like before addiction and what was your specific substance, by the way? Just
Oh
so I know.
man, I was using. I mean, I used whatever the dealer had, man. Whatever I could get my hands
Wow.
on.
Okay.
Uh, Mainly meth, but heroin, fentanyl.
Yeah,
Smoked
cool.
a lot of weed, drank. I mean, anything, man. Did spice for a while. DXM when I was younger, ecstasy, coke. I mean, everything, man. Just anything. I mean, really, I haven't done like bath salts, PCP, DMT, stuff like that. But man, pretty much the most of the main drugs, but mainly meth, mainly meth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your life like before all of that? What was your childhood like? What was your or early adulthood like?
I mean, I grew up in China, right, in Shanghai, and at a very early age, was a troublemaker. Going around the neighborhood, vandalizing and just causing like a mess, man. Stealing, causing like thousands, maybe tens of thousands in damage at a construction site one time, and just always a troublemaker. I'm half Caucasian, so uh, in China at the time, I was I wouldn't say yeah, I guess you could say treated a little bit different. They all knew me as like the kid that was half white, and there wasn't a lot of biracial kids there at the time. So I was excluded from some of the school activities. They kind of let me do my own thing. I didn't have to wear the uniform a lot of times. And I came here to the States when I was 10.
Do you feel like that exclusion and being, a little bit different or something like that led to you being like a troublemaker or like was it anger based? Was it just bored? Was it like what do you feel made you that way, I guess?
Definitely contributed to me getting into drugs after I came to the U.S. Um, I was excluded a little bit there, and when I came here, I looked very Asian. So of course, people didn't fully accept me here. I didn't speak English, so there was a crowd that was like smoking weed at the time. I was like 14, maybe 13, and they're like, "Yeah, come, like, yeah, we don't really care like what race you are, man. We just want to get high and have a good time." Like, and I kind of felt this acceptance and peace, and I was like, "All right, cool," and that's how it started for me. With smoking weed and stuff with people. Yeah, how it
Mm.
started.
So it started off with just smoking weed and like
Yeah,
milder substances.
then some like Adderall or like some ecstasy here and there, a little bit of coke, alcohol. Then just progressed slowly, and then when I was 14, I actually a little bit younger than that. I kept getting in trouble even after I came to the States, and started getting in trouble with the cops more. And when I was like, I want to say 13 or 14, I got expelled from like the whole school district
Mm.
for assault and battery on a teacher, and then they sent me to a continuation school to actually graduate, and they let me back into the school district the next year for freshman year. But then I caught like a felony and like some misdemeanors, so they expelled me 2 weeks before graduation. And my mom, she's like, yeah, you know what? Let's go on vacation. I was like, yeah, I just got expelled, but all right, mom. Um, why are you bringing such a big duffel bag? Like, what are you packing? So, anyways, man, she dropped me off in South Carolina in like a lockdown behavioral modification type program. I was gonna get sent to CYA, Youth Authority, for probably like a year or two. But she kind of saved me. At the time, I was like really upset. How could she do this to me? Looking back, she really saved me a lot of trouble because kids that come out of CYA are a lot of times uh, actually pretty bad. So, um, you know, yeah, that's how I entered my first program. I was 15. Yeah, after my
Uh,
15th birthday.
at that time, were you only smoking weed and Adderall, or were you like fully immersed into substance
No, no,
abuse?
no. At that time, it was just mainly weed, but like I said, some ecstasy and coke and little things here and there.
Just,
But
mm,
through going to these programs, I started trying to like dabble in things that were like undetected on the drug tests at the time, like uh, dextromethorphan, which is like the cough syrup stuff, spice, different things like that.
Mm.
I ended up in 4 programs that in that same year, as I kept getting kicked out, running away, and I eventually ended up at a boarding school for at-risk youth, and I was there for 2 years, and I did well there. But I got into some even heavier drugs, and I was about 18. Opiates. Started
Mm.
started just dabbling in heavier stuff, and I left that school and eventually started living with my mom. But that's when I got into the meth, um, and I got caught by my mom and kept using though, and eventually had to go to Colorado for like a repair program, and um, they kicked me out. Kept using, so I was homeless on the streets of Colorado, and that's when I did the IV use for the
Mm.
first time. Uh, and from there, it just started going downhill very quickly. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, man, up until this point, I did the math recently, and I've been to 30 programs now in my whole life,
Wow.
and I've written
Wow.
down the
30.
names. Yeah, I've written down the names of every single one of them, and I've roughly remember how much time I've spent in each one, and it adds up to over 12 years of my life inside of a program. Yeah. So I mean
Wow.
that's it's a lot. I've
Yeah.
calculated it, so that means after I came to the States, I've only had about a little over 5 years outside of a program.
Let's take a step back. I'm curious about
Okay.
like the first time you ever did heavy drugs.
Huh.
What led to that situation, or how did you get there?
I at a young age, like I said, I went to those rehabs, and all their the kids in there at the time, man, we were all very young, but my peers, they would talk about, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm shooting that, or gang banging this and that. And I'm like, oh man, like, and eventually, like, when you hear those things enough, it spoke it into existence for me. I'm like, I'm curious, I don't want to be a wimp and just like smoke weed. I don't want to. I want to be able to have cool stories and like say that I'm shooting up and blah blah blah. Like. eh, and that's what led me to pursue heavier and heavier drug use, was the fact that it was like an ego thing almost. Like I felt like I couldn't be in the same room with certain people unless I matched their level. And now looking back, like why couldn't I be comparing myself to people that were successful and trying to get on that level? What was I thinking, trying to put myself on the level of people that were shooting heroin? Like, you know, I I,
Yeah.
I don't get it, but um, I couldn't tell you why, man. Absolutely not. I have no idea why, but yeah,
Peer pressure, bad company, being around it all the time.
yeah,
It's so hard to resist. It's so common to
yeah,
surround
yeah,
yourself with people who do something and eventually you're going to do it no matter what your belief system was going into that situation. So totally
mm,
understandable. But so
yeah.
when you tried the heavier stuff, how did you feel? Did you get hooked right away? Did you feel like, oh man, that's amazing? Or were you like, oh, it's not for me, but I got to keep going to like have the stories?
You know, the drug itself was good. Yeah, the first time someone did it for me, and because we really never know how to do it the first time, we got to watch somebody. Someone's
Mm,
got to teach us how to, you know, do it. Like we gotta
yeah.
either look online how to do it. We gotta learn it from somewhere, man. So I didn't know what I was doing, but eventually I kind of learned from watching and people doing it, and and you know it's yeah, the feeling itself was not like, it gave me a sense of power. Holding that needle in my hand made me feel like I was feared, like
Mm,
amongst the drug community. It made me feel like I was somebody. It wasn't even necessarily the drug high was good too, don't get me wrong, but it was a sense of the power that it gave me, that I could walk somewhere and be like, oh, that guy, yeah, he shoots up, like, yeah. And I felt like I was somebody almost,
mm,
and yeah. So, and it's the same with AA too. It's like when you stick around the rooms long enough, you pick up the formats of the meeting, the language, the slogans, and just like wherever you hang around, like you said, we pick up our environment, and that's why it's so important. If we want to go a certain direction, we got to involve ourselves with a certain environment, certain people, and we become a product literally of our environment, man.
100%,
Yeah. Mm.
100%. And what was the transition like when you started using, when you tried it, and then it became kind of a full-time thing, or from, I guess, from casual to like hardcore, the addiction itself? Did that happen right away? Did that take some time?
No, it took some time for me. See, when I was younger, I was always infatuated with people that lived on the streets for some reason. And when I was 19, I had my own place and I was about to lose it. So I got my deposit back early and I bought a bunch of gear. I bought a bus ticket to go to LA. And I said, yeah, I'm just going to go live on the street for fun for a few weeks just to see what it's like. I mean, there were some steps that led up to that before that. I would spend a couple nights out on the street, but this time I'm going to go spend a few nights or a few weeks, get the right gear, sleeping bags and all that stuff, and see if I could make it for a few weeks with a little bit of money and all my supplies, and yeah, it was fun. I made it, and it gave me the confidence. And later on, like I said, in Colorado, I was homeless out there for during winter. Man, it was like winter, but I was able to kind of make it, and then from that, gave me more confidence to make it later, and later and later and later kept going. It just like became totally easy and normal. Like hold a sign, get some money, steal something, get some money. Um, I used to stand outside the car washes when people come out. Hey, let me dry off your rims. Get a few dollars. Or next to the air compressor. Hey, when they come to fill up their tires. Hey, let me fill up your tire for a few dollars. I mean, it wasn't. And as soon as I get like 10, $20, I'm hitting the dealer. And
As addiction progressed, did you question your choices and lifestyle, and living on the street, and trying to survive and stuff? Was it then becoming something other than what you thought it was, or were you still happy doing that?
no, it got dark. Yeah, it got dark. It got to a point where I'm like in this dumpster area, right? And usually I'm out and about, walking, exploring the city, talking to people, striking conversations, uh, trying new things. But man, it just gets to a point eventually where I'm in a corner somewhere behind a dumpster enclosement, uh, on my sleeping bag for days at a time, just continuously shooting up. Uh, just my hands
Yeah.
are literally falling apart because I'm not drinking water and I'm picking at stuff and just literally deteriorating, and my feet are numb because it's cold out, and I'm keeping warm with a little candle, also to use to cook my drugs and stuff. It's like, and I'm looking at myself like, man, like, where am I and what am I doing? And sometimes, man, the mice in the dumpsters, they're very loud. I'm like, oh man, when you're on the meth, everything's like times 10 and it's driving me crazy, man. I'm like, where has my life come to?
Was that kind of your rock bottom, your lowest point at that point, and then you felt like, no, I need some help. I need to get up and do something?
Yeah, that's one of the low points. Another low point, I was in the city one time, actually here in San Jose. I used to bounce back from Fremont, San Francisco, here, uh, just so I wasn't in the same spot too long. But um, there's a friend from high school. We went, and it was in Sonoma, very far away, but he was down here for like a Comic Con or something. And I was out, it's like 4 in the morning, and I'm out just, you know, high and been up for a few days and asking people for money because I didn't have any money. I wanted to get some more. Going around, hey sir, you got $1? Hey sir, you got $1? And I see this guy, hey sir, you got $1? And he comes closer and he's like, Evan? I'm like, oh man, that's Tony from school. Like 8 years later. And he's like, man, looking at me. He was like, what are you doing, man? Like, you used to like do pretty good in high school. Like, what happened? And I didn't really know what to say. And he had a hot dog that he had bought from the street vendors that stay out late at night. He must have been hungry and went out for a walk. But he handed me that hot dog, and he didn't say a word and just walked away. And that's one of my biggest bottoms, man. I felt like so embarrassed, and I didn't quit right after that. It was a while after before I quit, but I'll never forget that one.
It
That
really
one hit
stuck with
hard.
you, huh?
Yeah,
Hit
that one
hard.
hit me hard. Yeah, it was.
So how did you get out of that low spot? What happened at the end that made you stand up and dust yourself off and decide like I'm getting in treatment. I'm turning my life around.
Yeah, the edge. I mean, I came in and I was like, I was ready. So I'm gonna get that job in 3 months, however long. I'm gonna get off PHP. I'm gonna get that 3 hour a day. I'm gonna do my job, make that money, pay off my bills, and I'm gonna do this thing. I'm really gonna do it. And it was always my belief uh, in a higher power that really like stuck with me through all that. And I did just that. Groups used to be 6 hours and 6 hours a day. And they're not like that anymore. But yeah, it was 6 hours a day, and then got the job, dropped down, started working, paid off thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. Um, and eventually I ended up at a house that I stayed at for like 2.5 years. Through that house, I was able to get my first car, and got job in treatment, started working as a tech, went to school, and eventually got my KDAC, and started case managing. And man, it was just kept moving up from there. But like it was a lot though. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work. Um,
You put in
Hours
the
and
work.
hours. I mean, I to this day I'm sober over 3 years. I've never had that much time in my life.
That's amazing. That is so
Yeah,
amazing.
it's.
So good
I
to hear,
mean,
man. And
yeah, the staff there are great, very caring, and I mean, I just got shown so much love there, man. Like so much love, and like I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave,
that's
and
amazing. Yeah, it's really built
yeah, it
around
was.
that. It's really built around that supportive community. It's built around, what do you need? How can we give you the personalized treatment that we could do for you specifically, you know? And
Mm,
that's just, I mean, hearing you say how good your experience was makes me feel so much better too, hearing that because, it's all working.
it's a little community, man. Like it's like a miniature version of what the world is going to be like, and if you can succeed in it, you have a chance of
Got this.
succeeding out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a
That's awesome,
testing
Evan.
ground. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
yeah. It's,
Seriously, so proud of you. So glad you're on the right track, and we're always here for you, man. But
thank you.
thank you for
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for doing this, and it was an
Mhm.
awesome conversation with you, man.
Thank
And
you.
I
Yeah.
hope we
It's
have
been
a,
it's
a
been a
follow-up one when the network is a little bit better.
thanks,
Evan, it was
Kareem.
a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
I'll talk to you
Appreciate it.
later. All right.
All right.
At the Edge Treatment Center, we believe in your potential to overcome addiction and reclaim your life. Remember, recovery isn't just about quitting. It's about rediscovering the joy, the purpose, and the freedom you deserve. Your story of recovery starts now. Call 844-590-0403 and let's write it together.